G'day people, it's Mark here from Street Effects, and today we're getting a little bit more serious with our A90 Toyota Supra project car. Now this thing is going to be circuit based, so we're going to try and correct a few of the things that we've been finding have been issues from factory. First off being that the car has no adjustable camber or any adjustment in the front basically for wheel alignment. So the first thing we're going to be doing is changing to a set of SPL control arms and some caster bushes as well as some traction rods for the back of it. That should give us the adjustment we need to be able to be competitive on the circuit. If you'd seen our last video, you would have seen that we basically completely trashed our Pilot Sport Cup 2s. They got worn very badly on the outer edge because from factory you can only run about 1 degree of negative camber, just whatever it comes out of the box with, and it's just not good enough. When you're doing a lot of hard cornering, it completely annihilates those tires. So we've swapped out to some Nangkang AR1 tires as well. They're basically a cheap semi-slick. In my experience, they perform very well. We've put a 305 on the back and a 265 on the front. Now that's a little bit wide for the 10-inch rims that we're running, but it's all that we could get stock of at last minute. So thanks to Tyre City for those. While it's also in the air, we'll be putting some HKS adjustable height springs in it. Now these retain the factory dampers, so we get to keep all these settings here, the sport modes and all of that adjust the magnetic ride control. Next, after that, we'll be addressing another issue we found on the track, and that is that it does not seem to like Australian conditions and lapping lap after lap. We were getting a limited power mode. I wasn't throwing any codes or anything, but the car just dropped half power mid-lap. So we've hit up PWR intercoolers and radiators, and they're going to be doing us up a custom prototype intercooler. Now these run a water-to-air intercooler, so it's basically just a giant radiator on the front of the car. So they've created one that is double the volume of the factory unit. It's also a little bit thicker, and it is apparently a bit more efficient than stock as well. The factory ones are quite good on them, but we're hoping that that extra volume and a bit of extra efficiency gives us what we need to stop going into limp mode on the track, which is pretty important to get a bit of practice in. Now, lastly, as everybody needs, they are going to be wanting more power. So what we've already done on this is it's actually got a Titan downpipe and a Titan ProTune. Now it gave us a big bump of power, but we find that combination of ProTune with the downpipe has been making it go into limp modes all the time. I'd say it's over boosting and it's just not happy. So the way piggybacks work is they kind of just trick the factory ECU into thinking they're running less boost. So we don't actually really know how much boost we're running, and the last thing I want to do on the track is to do that when we know it's going into limp mode. If it was just the ProTune on its own, I think it would be alright, but with the downpipe and ProTune, it's throwing codes and it's just not a happy combination at all. So we've gone to John Visconti from Visconti Tuning, and he's provided us with a flash update using ECUTek. And while we're at GD Auto Garage today, we will see how much power we can get from that with basic, just plain old pump 98 fuel. All right, next up, GD Auto Garage. See you there. car already has oil leaks on the diff. Yeah, it's all up here as well. I wonder where it's coming from.
Taste it. When you go to put the SPL arms in, the instructions don't really tell you a whole lot of detail about how they actually install. So see that little line, if I can hold the torch, that little line there, that goes towards the outside of the car. Otherwise what you'll find is this little adjuster here won't be accessible because it'll be in behind that little metal tab. So those little lines, they go towards the outside, same as there when you go to install it. Otherwise you'll do what we did. We had them around backwards at first and then realized that wouldn't work, so we've had to switch the arms around and then put them around the correct way. Substantially lower. It's going to be interesting to get in and out of driveways with that body kit on the front lip. Alright, so caster's down. Camber, definitely noticeably a lot more than last time.
It's double the camber, more than double.
Yeah. Toe is just pretty much 0.4 aside in the front. Rear, neg 2.7, we'll start off there.
0.7 more than last time, yeah.
And then just the toe, 0.3 in there. I can't remember what we did last time.
It's toe, 1.1, 1.1.
1.1, yep. Yeah, so even knocked a bit more out of it again.
Cool.
Yeah, so
cool.
See how that goes.
Alright, so now we've got the SPL lower control arms, and in here the caster adjustment bushes. If you see here, they actually had scuffed the sway bar a bit because there was too much caster in it first. So when you guys install these, make sure you don't have too much caster, because driving it to the wheel alignment shop just down the road, it's actually done a bit of a damage on there. And the other thing is there's nothing in the instructions about which way these go, so make sure you've got the SPL facing forwards, otherwise you'll end up with this part here will be fouling against the sway bar links. So that's the front end all done, and the back end's all under these covers, but we've got the traction rods, caster, camber, and all the rest of the adjustment in the back as well. So that's all the SPL stuff in, the HKS stuff's in as well. So HKS springs, and that'll just retain the factory dampers, height adjustable,
it's dropped the car maybe 15-20 mil, just because it's going to be probably a little bit difficult to drive once this lower lip's put back on. I think it's a decent size. That's what she said. Mr. PWR here.
So no cutting, no changes, no movement.
So like this is just where it slides in, which is what you've matched.
Yep, correct. Which is, see that side and the top part? That's what this is trying to hug.
Okay. Oh, that bit.
And this little lock tab here is what it locks into at the top. Oh, puppy. She's like, what the fuck are we still doing here? It's home time.
Did you take the bung off the bottom one, or does it not matter?
We can get to it.
Oh. Your finger alright?
How's your... You alright? Oh, look at that. Hell yeah. Okay. Rests on you, mate.
That's perfect.
Alright, let's make sure this... Your idea about taking the cap off may have actually been quite valid.
Well, the bottom one, I don't know. I think might be a difficult one.
Well, that red one may live in your car for a while now. So if the aircon fails, you know what's happening. It's one of those lovely moments when you love to hear that snap. Alright. Alright, let's go. Let's go. VDA fittings are one of my favourites.
Oh, beautiful.
Home and hosed.
Cool. Temps looking. And hopefully tomorrow's track day we'll keep it on the track itself, and we hopefully will set some better times with these new tyres and new wheel alignment. Now we can get some camber into it. Alright, so now it's time to see what sort of lap times we can get out of these new modifications on the Supra. We will be logging it with our little tablet set up there, and we got some fairly tough competition around us as well. If you have a look out there, we got 35 GDR, Cayman GT4, M4 CSL, and a bunch of GT3s as well. This is the first session that there has been out at the racetrack since this whole COVID thing started happening. So since our last appearance out of the track, we've got some new springs in there. We've got some SPL control arms so that we were able to adjust the camber. So you can see the car's sitting a little bit lower than it was from factory. We've got a splitter from Rex Speed here. Little side skirt extensions, rear spats, a little duck wing on the back there. And aside from that, we've also got a downpipe and a tune from Visconti Tuning. It's an ECUTek, and that has given us, now we're making around 390 horsepower at the wheels, which is about, I think, 60 so horsepower more than factory. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of speeds we can get down the straight. The power alone should help us actually get a much better time than we did last time at the track. I think our previous best times out here was a 59.1 second lap around the sprint circuit. So hopefully we can shave some time off that. And the other modification we've done is last time we were out here, we noticed that we were getting some fairly high intake temps. Have a look. If you check out in there, you can see the PWR intercooler. And yeah, all right, let's take it out of the track and see how we go.
absolutely incredible day. Every time I take this car out, I'm blown away by how good it is, and it's just so easy to learn. It's just been an incredible vehicle. With such few mods, I managed to beat my PB, and that was against my actual 180SX time attack car with 550 horsepower. I managed to get today a 56.3 second lap on the sprint circuit and a 59.3 on the Clubman. Now that's my PB on both those layouts, and unfortunately our lap timing gear in here with the telemetry, it went a little bit crazy and thinks we were off the track there. So unfortunately I can't overlay the data from that onto the videos from today, but the 56.3, I'm absolutely stoked with that. Now, I know you guys probably don't know what that means in the scheme of things because you wouldn't be experienced with Queensland Raceway. But if you don't know, then here's what we were up against and where we placed. So we came first up against a fairly decent selection of cars. So we've got a Porsche GTS, a 35 GDR, an M4 CS, a Civic Type R, R33 GTS, a Westfield Kit Car, a Cayman GT4, just to name a few cars that all came up after us. And I am blown away. This car is just killing it out there. It's so much fun. It handles so well. We're still having a bit of an issue with the old ESC trying to kill us problem, but hopefully we can find a way to get rid of that, because that's a bit dangerous, especially on turn 1. So our intake temps were down around 5 or 6 degrees thanks to that new PWR intercooler. It's made a huge difference with the intakes, but not only that, it stopped the car going into limp home mode, which was a big improvement for us, because previously we were having to pull in and then shutting the car down for half an hour when it was totally stock. So that has helped an awful lot. We will send it back to PWR for a bit more R&D on the rest of the cooling system, and we'll see what they can come up with for the next round. But that's it from us for today. Massive thanks to the guys at GT Auto Garage and SPL and PWR for getting the car ready for us, and let's see what we can do on the next day out. All right, see you folks. Thanks for watching.